Now, in the most recent season of Miraculous Ladybug, it was more or less confirmed that Adrien and his cousin Felix are Sentimonsters, sentient living beings created by the Peacock Miraculous using the strong emotions of humans. In addition to those, however, there are some hints, or even what some people would call confirmations, that Kagami is a Sentimonster as well, so let's dive into that. Now, Sentimonsters, as explained, are made using the Peacock Miraculous. When used, it creates a sentient living being out of the emotions of the wearer or target. Without strong enough emotions, a Sentimonster can't be made, and the powers and manifestation of the monster depend not just on the desires of the emotional person, but on the emotions themselves. A Sentimonster made out of love is going to be more loving than a Sentimonster made out of anger, though both can still experience both emotions. To control the Sentimonster, an item close to the emotional person becomes embedded with the emotional power, with that item being a magical item that can be used to give commands to the Sentimonster. It is not the Peacock Miraculous that controls the Sentimonster then, but this item, or Amok as they are called. The Peacock Miraculous does still retain the power to destroy the Sentimonster creation, however, even if the person wearing it is not the original holder that created the Sentimonster. Sentimonsters can be whatever you wish, and thus, if you want a mindless animal monster, you get that. If you want a human-like entity that is still shallow-minded and easy to control, you also get that. But if you want a full-fledged human with full human intelligence and emotion too, that can also be created. That leads us to the end of Season 5 in the episode Representation, where Kagami and Felix put on a special play for Marinette, where they revealed the origins of Felix and Adrien as Sentimonsters. Gabriel, Emily, and Natalie had found the Miraculous of the Peacock, and Emily used it in order to conceive Adrien. The Peacock Miraculous was then given to the husband of Emily's twin sister Amelie, who used it in order to create Felix. Since Emily and Amelie are twins, Sentimonsters made to be their sons would look just like them, and thus they would look like each other, being male versions of their twin mothers. Felix would begin to put together his origins over time and managed to get the ring of his father after he passed away, which was the Amok that controls him. He also wanted the Peacock Miraculous for himself so that Gabriel or anyone else who wears it couldn't snap him out of existence. Despite getting his own life under control, Felix began to develop something of a bond with the other Sentimonsters. He began to see them, even the non-human ones, as being his brothers and sisters, seeing their origins and the way they are controlled as more uniting than technically being a human. Because of this, Felix's story became largely about trying to rescue Adrien, who is also a Sentimonster. During this time, Felix expresses how he wants to liberate everyone and everything that is trapped and controlled, emphasizing that he used the power of the Red Moon to take away the humans in order to set Adrien free. And of course, in addition to this, Felix became fixated on rescuing Kagami, who he saw as similar to him. Now, initially, I took this as being symbolic, as it was never expressly stated that Kagami was a Sentimonster, but all of the evidence is there. Kagami's mother Tsurugi is a close associate with Gabriel Agreste, so close that he is willing to include Tsurugi in his use of the Miraculous. The only other person he did this with was Natalie, and it gives the impression that Tsurugi was well aware of the Miraculous and their power before she was brought in for Gabriel's bigger plan to use her technology to create the Alliance Rings. Tomoe Tsurugi is yet another rich and powerful elite who is described by Felix as just barely not being the last of her line because Kagami exists. If Tsurugi was desperate to have an heir, it would make sense that she might also be interested in the Peacock Miraculous, and the sudden child that Emily was blessed with after seemingly being infertile. Like with Felix's parents, Tsurugi may have been jealous and demanded some sort of explanation, leading to her eventually being given the Peacock Miraculous. Even without a husband then, she could have a daughter that she could sculpt and control to eventually take over her business empire. Tsurugi hints at Kagami being a Sentimonster in the episode Pretension, where she explains that Adrien and Kagami are connected.
We are connected, just like our children. They were made for each other, and I will not tolerate another glitch in our plan.
Notice how she specifically says that the two were made for each other, like they were made instead of being produced naturally, if you will. Kagami's Amok appears to be the ring she herself wears with her family crest on it, a family heirloom ring similar to the ones used to create Felix with his father's ring and Adrien with his mother's twin rings. Kagami is given this ring to wear herself, seemingly as a symbolic act from Tsurugi, but there are hints that this is what controls Kagami. Later, Tsurugi will tap the ring with her sword and said that this crest is what dictates Kagami's destiny, hinting at it controlling her.
It is our family crest, and that crest dictates your behavior. If you're not your own master, then you are already your own slave.
Finally, at the end of the episode, Tsurugi insists that Kagami is not in control of her emotions, and as such, she wants the ring back, which could allow Tsurugi to control her directly without needing to worry about whether or not Kagami wants to rebel. The ring she takes, however, is not the original, but a fake one swapped out by Felix. He gives Kagami the ring, saying that she's in fact the last of the Tsurugis, not her mother, and that she should be controlling her fate. Felix seemed to first recognize that Kagami was a Sentimonster in the Season 5 episode Emotion, where Felix disguises himself as Adrian to go to the Diamond Ball. Here, he meets Kagami, and immediately, the Peacock Miraculous seems to make him hone in not just on her, but on the ring she is wearing, her own Amok. From here, Felix becomes fixated on Kagami, following her around Paris. He sees her as no different from her, and his ultimate plan was to make sure she gets the ring that controls her, and then set her free from her mother. When Felix describes how all beings brought into existence should be given the proper love and guidance they need from their creators, Kagami asks Felix if he's talking about himself, and he says that he's talking about her, or that they are both the same. The biggest question is, who wore the Peacock Miraculous to create Kagami, as with the Peacock Miraculous being damaged at the time, anyone who wore it would have slowly gotten sick and eventually died. The absence of Kagami's father could imply that, like with Felix's father, he died creating Kagami, but the impression given in the show is that he almost just doesn't exist, as if Tsurugi planned to be a mother alone from the very beginning. In even my first watch through, I always felt that Tsurugi had something of feelings for Gabriel Agreste, but feelings she was only ever able to contextualize through work and perhaps even as friendship. However, this has some sad implications, as she explains to Kagami in the episode Emotion that friendship can be very disappointing. This, at the time, seemed to explain why Tsurugi, as a mother, was both so isolated, but also so isolating, wanting to protect Kagami from the feelings that she had captured perhaps for Gabriel herself, with Gabriel being the only possibility we really know of so far for someone who could have been a friend that ended up disappointing her. Now, until it is expressly stated that Kagami is a Sentimonster on screen, some people are always going to claim that she's just a normal human with a mysteriously absent father. But if anyone else was going to be a Sentimonster on top of Adrian and Felix already, it would undoubtedly be Kagami. It also makes her the perfect yin to Felix's yang, both being creations of a Miraculous who were trapped by their parents until they found each other and set themselves free. While Gabriel may be dead and gone, Tsurugi is not, and as we see in the London special, which we're not allowed to show footage of still, she could still be a threat. While Kagami talked a lot about forgiveness and starting over in this special, Ladybug was concerned that Tsurugi, as an ally to Monarch, may continue to use what she knows to try and get the power to make a wish for herself. She will certainly have opportunity to align herself with other figures like Lila in Season 6 and onward, and I personally can't wait to hear more about her so we can get to the bottom of who paid the price for creating Kagami. Maybe Emily had done it herself, maybe at the same time that she created Adrian, but we just don't know. I wanted to theorize that maybe the Peacock Miraculous is the reason that Tsurugi went blind, hence explaining why she may have a troubled friendship with Gabriel, seeing him as someone who gave her a child, but also someone who led to her being blind without warning her of the consequences of the Peacock. But Natalie seems to have the exact same symptoms as Adrian's mother after she used the Peacock, and I don't think that Tsurugi is slowly getting worse the way that she or Emily did. But what do you guys think? And I am once again asking if I should make a video about how Zoe might date Sabrina in Season 6 of Miraculous Ladybug. Still no? See you next time.